What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So we did get a Mario Maker 2 Direct announced, and that's pretty exciting ahead of E3, of course, because, well, it's E3 time, just about, right? We're a month out now. We're hearing about some of the big reveals with a Mario Maker 2 Direct now happening later on today. We'll talk a bit about that, and then we're also going to talk a bit about Sony and some of their weird censorship stuff, because it is still going on, and now it's kind of, I guess, gone to like the next level as an entire logo for a game has actually been changed at this point, which is very weird. As always, guys, enjoy these videos. Make sure you hit the like button. It does help out. And get subscribed as we roll along to 300,000 subscribers. Hopefully, we'll see if we can get there before E3, and we'll see how all that goes. So make sure you get subscribed and notifications on so you can keep up to date with all the gaming news. We're going to actually start today with that Hob Switch giveaway. Remember that we did that a little while ago, and it seemed to go really well and everything, and well, it looks like the company, Perfect World Entertainment and Panic Button, they delivered on it, and what's really cool is the winner posted it on Reddit and then also on Twitter. You're going to see some images here, and that's from Alex Mott, who actually posted it, and it looks really, really cool. You can actually see some images of the Switch dock and the different Joy-Con controllers. Very, very neat to see. So again, congratulations to Alex, and it's really cool to see how that all came out and everything, because I only ever saw like renders of it. It's pretty cool to see it in person there. Also, check this out. You know, we talked a little bit about Galaxy's, their foldable phone that they did, and it didn't go over too well, right? Well, Lenovo actually is taking a shot at a foldable laptop, which is one big screen that can then be folded to about the size of a book. According to Lenovo, it's less than a pound or so, and the right side actually has a battery, so it can still be kind of stood up in like a laptop form factor, and it's kind of a neat looking thing. Now, a lot of places actually had coverage on this. It is a prototype. It's not due out till next year, so it's got a little bit of time, and Lenovo apparently is working heavily on the testing phase and everything around the R&D, and that's why it's not going to be out for a little while, but places like Windows Central and The Verge and others got a chance to take a look at it, test it out a bit, and for the most part, they like the idea, and honestly, I kind of do as well. Now, of course, Samsung's Galaxy Fold or whatnot didn't go over great, but it is like the first product in what's going to be probably a line of products as they work out a lot of issues. For example, Lenovo talked about how they didn't put a sticker or like a piece of clear adhesive essentially over the screen to help with the folding. They actually seemed to build a layer on top of the screen instead that wasn't like something you could just see and peel off, like looks like a screen protector. So it does look like Lenovo is actually taking a look at Samsung's issues and tried to work them into the laptop. It's going to be a bit cool idea, though. I do like the idea. We'll see how it continues to evolve. We also got a bit more information about Saints Row the Third and its patch for the Switch, which does seem to need a Digital Foundry to do a full analysis on it, and it's on par or worse even than the PS3 and the 360 version, which is interesting. Does have that input lag that I was also input delay that I was noticing there, but a patch is coming. They put out on their website, Deep Silver did a full-on, like a massive list of stuff that's happening, which does include different things when it comes to performance, of course, crashing issues that we've seen with bugs and stuff in the game. It looks like they're also looking for more feedback as well, which should be something that they should be paying QA testers for, but hey, they'll just ask the community, I guess there. It is, according to them, releasing on Thursday the 16th, so tomorrow, or I guess tonight at midnight everywhere in like the US and everything, or 9 p.m. Pacific time. So it is at least coming out sooner than later, but it should have been something that probably would have been fixed up ahead of time. But I guess they're letting the community fix it, kind of, testing and everything. I've seen people Nintendo put up a whole list of it, and I'm like, oh man, that looks like a list that a QA person would have turned in ahead of release, you know? But hey, I guess at least they're fixing it. And probably in an effort to make the PC gaming show a bit more relevant and interesting this year, Epic Games is actually sponsoring it with a whole bunch of reveals, and I'm sure that's going to go over with the PC gaming community really, really well. The Steam community, Epic Games is indeed sponsoring the event at E3, and I'm sure they're going to have a wealth of stuff to reveal. I was trying to figure out something that would really, really set like the PC gaming world on fire if Epic Games announced it. I came up with Red Dead Redemption 2, of course. I've also seen some people talk a bit about the possibility, I'll say, of Persona 5 making the jump and it being an Epic Games exclusive for like a year or something. That would probably do it too. But yes, the PC gaming show, sponsored by Epic Games, is happening, and we'll see how that goes. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're going to start with Mario Maker 2 because we do have a direct happening later on today. That's 3 p.m. Pacific or 6 p.m. Eastern time. And according to Nintendo, it's going to be about 15 minutes or so for content for Mario Maker 2. They put out this tweet and everything that you've seen here, and it's probably going to be a lot of fun for people who enjoy building levels, I would assume, because it's Mario Maker 2. I'm curious what they're going to fill up 15 minutes worth of footage and everything for. I have a strong feeling that we're going to see a lot about sharing functionality. How do we share this stuff? Because keep in mind, they don't have those regulations for video and stuff that they did before on YouTube. No, that's all gone now. So I think they really want people to share this stuff online. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think that mobile app is going to be incorporated heavily, kind of like what Smash Bros did with like Stage Builder and everything. I think there is going to be a bit of a lean on for that. Like they're going to lean on that heavily. And you know what? If it works well enough, I think people will be okay with it. I'd prefer it all to be built in, right, to the system, and you basically browse and share stuff that way. But if it's a companion app and you don't necessarily need it, I'm better with that. So I'm hoping they do go over the sharing functionality and maybe add some multiplayer in there. There's a lot of stuff they could show us. And then, of course, just content in general from different Mario games and stuff. It's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I'll have a chance to stream it, but it's about 15 minutes, so I'll post a video afterwards going over it. So if you do miss it, and you want to see what happened there and everything, and have some, I guess, some just overall opinions on it and everything, you could stop by. I should have something up a little later on. But it's exciting stuff, and it also makes me wonder if now we're going to E3, they've decided to really showcase this game like a month ahead of time, because E3 is going to be packed. Keep in mind, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, Daemon X Machina, Astral Chain, probably some stuff we don't know about right now. There's a lot of stuff to show, and I think the Treehouse is going to be leveraged heavily for that as well. I'm sure Mario Maker 2 will be a part of that. It'll probably also be playable on the showroom floor and everything. So because I think it's so close to E3, they want to showcase it ahead of time, but also probably take some pressure off of E3 to spend minutes or maybe even half an hour or so in the Treehouse just explaining it. So if they can get it out of the way now, they can spend less time in the future at E3 when they have other things to show, and of course get everyone ready to pick this thing up, because it's going to be massive online. People are going to go crazy sharing stuff, and it's going to be really exciting because the first one took over the internet, and now the second one without the content restrictions is really going to blow up online. Next up, let's talk about World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft Classic is happening this year. Blizzard announced that it's starting August 27th. You'll be able to go back in time, like way back in time for World of Warcraft. We were talking a while ago, right? To where I guess it wasn't as complicated and there wasn't as many updates and everything to when we first started, and you can start leveling up characters August 27th. That's pretty cool to hear about, but there's also going to be a closed beta that will take place actually starting today. There is a full sign up you have to do, and then they will choose players as they need them. I assume it's to stress the servers as they put them up, as they stand up servers. They'll bring in more people, and that's of course good, because then on release day, we don't have to worry about it crashing and burning and everything. I'm actually really curious to see how this does, mostly because private servers for like old vanilla World of Warcraft have actually been pretty popular. People really like playing on those servers. I don't know if they like it being more simplified or simplistic compared to a lot of the stuff that's been added over the years. It's seen a lot of updates. So to see Blizzard, of course, fully supported on their end is exciting. That was one of the big announcements they had, a year or so ago, and people got really excited about that announcement. So I'm also curious to see if people have been remembering it who haven't been on those private servers with some maybe nostalgia glasses, and they go back and start playing and they go, oh, wow, yeah, okay, I forgot it was like this, and then they quit. The player population and how that goes is gonna be very interesting to see how, if it dips down, or maybe it's really, really popular and Blizzard doubles down on it. It's gonna be interesting, so keep an eye out for that. Get signed up for the closed beta if you want to participate, and then look forward to August 27th to really jump in. Next up, let's talk a bit about Sony's weird censorship stuff that they continue to do. And this time, it's kind of weird because they have seemed to have just completely changed the title to a game because of their censorship policies. Now, of course, we've seen the New York Times, a Wall Street Journal, a lot of places have written about this, but the Wall Street Journal had a pretty good scoop on it and talked a bit about how internally there are some restrictions that have been introduced. However, other places have got like conflicting information, but one thing continues to happen, and that's Sony actually doing censorship for some of these games. So here is actually a post that was made on Twitter, and then Kotaku and a lot of other sites picked up on it, and you can see a pretty distinct difference here. The biggest one being, of course, that the graphic is different from the Switch version over to the PlayStation 4 version. Now, that's supposed to read Omega Labyrinth Life, but on the PlayStation 4, it just says Labyrinth Life, and then as you can see on the Switch version, it has the woman figure there, and then it has the Omega symbol that is obviously set to be her bust there. But here's the thing, the game is all centered around that anyway, and it's interesting that Sony would take that away, but still have the game on their PlayStation system. Now, the Switch version does have quite a bit. It also has a bit of a price difference, about $18 when you convert it. But because of the amount of stuff that appears to have been taken out of the PlayStation 4 version, I think I kind of understand the price difference there. I don't understand Sony's take on some of this, but some of the stuff that they have taken out that's going to remain in that Switch version. There are touch events, there's rock, paper, scissors mini games, and there's different scenes and stuff that Sony has also changed around, and then other content as well that has been removed. Those are some of the big bullet points that they had up there. But here's the thing about this particular game. It's already not been approved in the UK for a ratings board and everything, and that's the thing. We rely on the ratings boards to tell us what something is rated. This is rated 17 and up. Like, it's basically a mature rated game. So we're already to that point where we understand that it's not for kids, right? And that's kind of the thing. That's what I think Nintendo's doing here compared to Sony. Nintendo, who censored stuff in the past, doesn't really seem to care now. They are relying, as I think we should, on the ratings board to tell us what something is rated. Look, if it comes out and it doesn't pass certification like in the UK, then you don't sell it, right? It doesn't go on there because no retail establishment is really going to touch an adult rated game, and that's fine. I think most people understand that. But if it comes out and it's 17, it's rated mature basically at 17, like say, I don't know, Call of Duty, for example, I don't really know why you mess around with it and do things like take the logo out and stuff. You may not agree with what's even in the game, and that's fine. It's not even my type of game, but it also makes you wonder what Sony is doing here when it comes to their position in the marketplace, because it does seem like they are focusing heavily on the Western audience and less on Japan, which they are allowed to do, obviously. It's worked well for them so far this generation. It makes me wonder about the PlayStation 5 going forward into next generation, as they seem to have less and less of a presence in Japan now going forward. Nintendo continues to double down in Japan with a lot of this kind of stuff where they won't censor it. So it's interesting to think about, but now we have an entire game's logo, content, and everything being altered for the PlayStation 4, specifically because of their audience size. So keep that in mind. We're going to restart next generation. I'll be curious if Sony still has this kind of pull if the PS5 is off to kind of a sluggish start. But these, of course, are also niche games for smaller audiences, so maybe Sony doesn't really care that much anyway, but we'll see. And we're going to finish up today with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Crisp, saying, so if people can make Dreamcast games run on the Switch, then why can't Nintendo run Super Nintendo, N64, or GameCube games? And that's the thing. I think most people understand that the Switch can run those games. I don't think that's an issue. GameCube is the one I'm still unsure about, although we have seen the NVIDIA Shield TV in China run Wii games, so most likely the Switch can run GameCube games. So I'm not against it of running on the Switch. Like, I think it's going to run fine on the Switch if they wanted to do that. The 64 obviously can run. It ran on the Wii. So that's not the issue here. I think the issue we're running into is Nintendo figuring out how they can leverage it further, mostly because a lot of people assume that a Nintendo 64 Classic is on the way, most likely, whether it's this year or the following year or the year after that. I think a lot of people think that that is in development right now, so they wouldn't want to put the 64 Classic out and then put 64 games on the Switch because that would hurt their own, what they're trying to sell, which is a 64 Classic. I think now the Super Nintendo Classic is like discontinued. they could move Super Nintendo games over later this fall when that subscription service comes back up, which would be in September. That's my thought on that. As for GameCube games, there's always a possibility that they want to remaster some of those games and move them over rather than just straight up drop them on the Switch for sale. That's the thing. Their older Virtual Console thoughts are pretty much out the window, it seems now, and they want to continue a subscription-based service because that's recurring revenue and it works well for companies now, as we see. So that's kind of the dilemma Nintendo's in. Not that they won't run on the system, but they're trying to figure out how they want to sell them, whether it's through recurring revenue, one-time sales, through remasters, or through a classic system. It's actually more complicated than I think a lot of us thought it would be when the Switch first came out. So we'll see what happens going forward, though, but definitely look to September, possibly for Super Nintendo games to get introduced into that Nintendo online application. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is Mario Maker 2 in the Direct later on today. What do you expect to see there? What are you hoping to see there? Let me know about that. And then what about Sony and kind of the censorship stuff going on right now? Do you think they're hurting their relationship between them and some of the Japanese developers? And do you think if they don't have the install size next generation they do now, do you think Japanese developers will even care and they just won't put their stuff on the PlayStation? Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.